I was gonna say on the sales side, I was gonna give you a shout out because I asked you the question like what's a differentiator? What do brands do different to kind of compete? But we always say over here at Culture Studio and even with our own team is like it really is a simple game at the end of the day. And when it comes to sales, it's like you need someone like Milissa that is like that is cool. She's a homie and also is genuine. I think people see that in the sales, and no matter what company you're with, when you have someone that's genuine and isn't trying to sell you something, but has that personality, that goes a really long way.
We live below the fold. We live underneath those incredible brands.
What is the vision? Right? So like there's a story, but then it's like, where are you trying to go? If it's compelling enough, then you start to get people to believe in it.
All right, everybody, thank you. We're back. Today we have another incredible brand and a very good old friend of the fam. The homie Milissa is here with us from Lane 7. Thank you for joining with this gorgeous background that you have. How are you?
Love it.
Good, thank you. I've got to bring the Barbie vibes in.
I love that Barbie.
Love it.
Who's that comedian with the mullet?
Yeah, I know that dude.
Did you hear his thing on Barbie?
No, what did he say?
Oh, it's hilarious. I can't spoil it there. Go look. What's that comedian's name?
I don't know his name, but I know what you're talking about. He's on TikTok and all that. Like,
it is hilarious what he said about Barbie. I don't know. My kids are too young for the Barbie thing, so
yeah, that's what I say to them too.
I'm like,
they can't watch it yet.
Yeah. But anyway, I love to hear. First off, give us your personal journey. How you've gotten here so far to Lane 7, and then we'll get into the good stuff. Tell us about the products and the brand and what's new.
Yeah, so I, just like everyone else, didn't set out to be in this industry, right? I went to TCU and graduated with a degree in religion and political science. I became an ordained minister after that, and
I didn't know that.
Wow.
That's awesome.
There you go. Surprising.
We only knew that when we were all married.
Yeah, we could have used you.
Yeah,
that's right. I do weddings, funerals, marry and bury. So then I discovered my dislike of people's emotional feelings, and after doing that for a while, and I moved back to Iowa where I grew up and hung out there, got into sales. I was actually an insurance adjuster in insurance sales for a while, and then moved back to Texas and got a job with Liberty Bags, is how I got into the industry.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And who is kind of a mainstay. I worked with a lot of wholesale distributors at that point. And then a guy from Next Level came in and said, "Hey, I think you're really good. We'd love to come have you join our sales team." And that was 2014. And then went to US Blanks about 3 years after that. And I've been with Lane 7 for 2 years now.
Nice. And we've been along for that journey too.
I was going to say, I feel like I was there for that.
We're there. Minus the insurance adjuster part, which
yeah.
I'm interested.
It sounds riveting.
I'm sure you must have learned a lot there, at least on the sales side,
Yeah, well, it was primarily tractors, which is a really weird niche. So
talk about that's a niche. I can sell a tractor.
You can sell a tractor for
100%.
Sure. So tell us, what differentiator does Lane 7 have from any of these past experiences, or just maybe as a brand in a whole?
Yeah, I think Lane 7 right now, the industry over the last 3 years has gone insane, I think is the appropriate term. And they're kind of fitting into that right perfect niche that everyone's looking for, something really elevated but not super expensive, right? You get into some of these pieces and you add in 11, you start with a $10 blank and then you're adding $5, $6, $7 for printing, depending on how complicated it is. It ends up being a $30, $40 thing and doesn't match what you're seeing in retail. Mm-hmm. And then your customer's pissed, and it's just making the process of sales easier and fun and looking like what you're going to buy from the store, I think is really important.
Agreed. 100%. I'm interested in, obviously you're at Next Level and then going to US Blanks and kind of where you're at now. the industry is so competitive, right? It's like
Yeah.
there's if you're at next level, you're competing with Bella Canvas, and then on down the line, whoever fits that same type of model or same type of garment. Even at lane 7, like how do you stay competitive but also own a piece of the market share? Like what are some strategies that you guys talk about? Like we have all these different blanks. Some you can go to the mill, some you go to the distributor. So there's all these different kind of things that you can do with these brands. How do you stay competitive, and how do you think of those things?
I really, the way I look at the market and the way I encourage our ownership and everything across the board, no matter what we're doing, is do it better, do it different, and do it better. Um, Everyone, you're seeing a lot of repetition, and this is the one thing I really hate about our industry is that from a blanks perspective, everyone seems to be chasing somebody else. Oh, this is a knockoff of this. This is a knockoff of that. Like, who cares? There's a million ways to build this stuff, even though you're in the same realm of things. It's got to have 5 holes, right? That's kind of the minimum. And then, but do it better. Figure out how to improve the wheel and differentiate yourself from everybody else.
Definitely
So,
got to elevate it a bit, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering too, in that same breath, how do you guys get consistent with the fabric and the dye? Tell us about consistency, and especially as decorators and designers, how do we ensure that that product that we're receiving from different lots across this year or next month or whatever the case may be, how do you get that to be consistent across the board?
I know enough to be dangerous in this conversation, but not enough to speak with actual authority.
Same.
So I'll pretext it with that. But I really think it comes down to your AQL, and that's like how many times and points of inspection that you have. And just like with any other team that you have, quality is everything, right? You could have three really good inspectors and they hit all the same amounts and volume to inspect that as a team of 500 doing a shitty job. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So I think that we have a really solid team, that is doing all the inspections and going and making sure, when you talk about there's 5,000 components in printing a t-shirt, absolutely. There's just as many to get that product in a box, right?
Yeah.
From making sure that there's actually that many in a box, which can be a struggle at times too.
Amen to that.
Yeah, we deal with that on a daily basis. That's for sure.
Counting is hard.
Yeah. Even like when we talk about quality control and something, even with the past guests that we had, like even R&D, right? Just having a department that's testing things and trying things out for all of us. Not just taking what we have, but testing things out. Have an R&D department. You can actually kind of tweeze things out and see what works for you.
Yep. No, absolutely.
I was going to say, go ahead, Rich. You're going to say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say on the sales side, I was going to give you a shout out because I asked you the question like what's a differentiator? What do brands do different to kind of compete? But we always say over here at Culture Studio and even with our own team is like it really is a simple game at the end of the day. And when it comes to sales, it's like you need someone like Milissa that is like that is cool. She's a homie and also is genuine. I think people see that in the sales, and no matter what company you're with, when you have someone that's genuine and isn't trying to sell you something, but has that personality, that goes a really long way. And we deal with a lot of brands. We're not going to mention any names, but man, it's hard to get an answer. It's hard for someone to get back to you and if you're following up, and it's like
feel like you're a priority.
And just feel like a priority. Yeah. And like that, what a simple game. Like get back to me and tell me what the stock is and let's forecast and let's talk about things. But as simple as that is, a lot of people just don't do it.
And we're expanding our team by a lot in the next quarter, and it's incredibly difficult to find people with a sales ethic of like putting the customer first and whatever their needs are, and not even if the one thing that drives me nuts with some salespeople is they want to find a solution for their customer with only in their brand. There's some things I don't do, and there's some things I can't do well. So why wouldn't I share with you or connect you to the person who does do it well? That I got to help you at the end of the day. That's the
Yeah.
And then it all comes back around.
So, and speaking of that, as far as your brand goes, what is your favorite product? Like what in the line is like, what's that first thing that you're going to pull out? Like, this is the number one. This is the winner 2023 this year.
So I'm going to answer that in 3 parts. 4. My favorite thing to wear is our heavyweight hoodie, the 19,001.
Yep.
And that
Great
is
product.
Universally almost every woman's favorite piece that I talk to. My favorite product to show is our urban sweatpant, hands down, because it's got really deep pockets in the side. That's got zippered stash pockets, which I love. And then that whole urban collection. And then there's one item that I have, our new heavyweight, our super heavyweight tee, the 7.6 ounce, which you guys are running a ton of right now on tour. I hate that shirt personally. And that's how I knew I wasn't cool enough anymore, right? Like, okay, I've aged out of the program. So that shirt, but it's selling like fire. So that's really fun to see people's perception of it. And then our future fleece, I love because it's a new 100% sustainable and the price point is killer. So there's all the answers.
Talk to us about, the brand's positioning on sustainability and maybe even like where do you think that's going? Is sustainability and organic products something that's actually here to stay, or does it really matter when you talk price? What is your positioning on that, or the brands?
So I think from an overall perspective, we're getting more honest and more clear about what sustainable actually is, right? The consumer is getting a lot more knowledgeable about what they do know, and the transparency is amazing. But there's so much greenwashing out there, right? Like, does it matter if it's recycled poly? Does it matter, right? And what is the life cycle after that? I think as Gen Z and Gen Alpha get older and have more consumer power, it's absolutely going to be the story going forward. And the hurricane that we had here this last week and the fires in Maui, I mean, things like that are just going to continue. In 115-degree weather in Chicago, that's not. People think about that. That's going to translate.
Guess maybe like the global warming thing seems like it's happening a little bit this year, huh?
It feels like it today.
Don't call me a scientist, but it's hot AF.
Yeah, there's no denying that.
No denying that at all.
Yeah. So I think, yes, it's going to continue to be a trend. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think the biggest concern is price. Why is it so expensive?
The thing that I think doesn't get enough credit, and I forgot who said this to me recently, or if I found it somewhere. I don't know. Maybe Michelle, you would know. I send you like 200 links a day. There's something about like purchasing a product, and a very, very high quality product that you're gonna keep forever. And like, I'm only gonna buy prized pieces. Like, I'm only gonna purchase something that I know I want, rather than I feel like maybe the last 5 years or maybe even more, like fast fashion was so popular, meaning like instead of buying one very high quality piece, I'm going to buy 150 of them and I'll only wear them all one time, and then they'll end up probably in the garbage. Isn't that probably more sustainable than anything else that we're doing on like the fabric side or anything like that? Is like actually making high quality pieces that people will love and keep forever? I don't know.
Yes, but then how long are we in business for?
Yeah, I mean, I guess
we need volume.
We need volume, sure, but like even in that case, like in our world, we're not selling to Zara or anything like that really anyways, or Uniqlo or anything like that, It's kind of a minimalist mindset, I know I am a minimalist, so that's actually right. Obviously, I feel that way.
He's a self-proclaimed minimalist, but I don't agree with that.
So I would say that, like that makes sense, and we we talk about the products that we make are collectibles. The usually has a date back on it, and usually has the tours on it, or whatever the case may be. So, I like that you said that. Maybe there is some of that going on, that we're making great high quality pieces to be saved and kept and reused.
I think you're seeing a dramatic shift in the market right now, and I don't know that the market has, our industry's caught up to it fully or adjusted to the mindset, is that budgets are somewhat the same, or maybe they're a little bit smaller than they were a year or so ago. But what the consumer is actually looking for is making less, spending the same. So you're getting they want a higher quality product, right? Whether it's in the hard goods space, apparel, whatever it is, they're wanting something really, really nice, but maybe they don't need 5,000 of them anymore. They need 2,000, whatever it is. But you're seeing that shift go from giveaway fast fashion into what's going to be something that's going to be usable in the future.
Yeah.
How about the market itself? So if you would have asked anybody in this apparel business last year, 2022, how was the year? Everyone's like, record breaker, like
no.
2022 or or 2021 is a record breaker, but 2023, I'm hearing mixed things. Some people are like absolutely crushing it. Some are, it's a small growth. How are you seeing the market? And obviously you speak to a lot of like customers and stuff. What's your take on the market, and what do you think the rest of the year is going to look like? What does 2024 look like? Love to get your perspective there.
One, I love the total blindness to how lucky we all were for the last 3 years. Unreal growth. And from a screen printer level, apparel company, right? Promo, if you had it, it sold, right? If you could service the customer, business was easy. It was great. From an apparel mill standpoint, I think almost all of us would be in unity. We saw this coming, the slowdown coming way before anybody else did. About July last year, we started looking at our numbers year over year in terms of units, right? Dollars were up, inflation, right? Prices went up, dollars were up, units were flat, if not down. So we started to get into every mill is in an overstock position at this point. I'm sure you guys are getting calls daily. Mm-hmm. So we kind of saw this coming, right? A slowdown, and all the inventory from 21 came in all at once. And so you're sitting on, a couple of years worth of inventory. The units stopped moving as fast. And so I think the workflow was so behind for so long that everyone else kind of got a nice long period that we didn't see. So we saw this coming. Starting to see an uptick again. July was tough. I think that's pretty unanimous across the board. You guys probably a little bit less because of tour, but I think the market's going to be closer to 2019 if anyone can remember back that far.
No.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist.
Did I work here?
Yeah.
Where was I?
Barely. Yeah, barely.
But if you looked at where we were in 2019 and kind of the conversations that were happening, it's very, very similar. And I think 24 is going to be okay. I don't think it's going to be anything I don't think the last 3 years will ever return.
Hard to beat.
Yeah.
But it's also hard to beat, but it's also crazy to think hard to beat in some of the worst times of the country. So it says something about this industry. Yeah. It's very resilient, extremely resilient.
Yes.
I was wondering, I don't believe I know the origin story of Lane 7. So I'd love to hear, and at least your version of it. Like what is the origin story? Like, what makes the brand appear and what makes it special today?
Yeah, so the owner, Nabil, he's a young guy. He's just a couple years older than me, but he had a denim brand in Pakistan, couldn't figure out how to make it go. And he was kind of looking at other markets to dive into, and he decided he wanted to enter into the fleece and jersey space. And he's like, man, okay, I need a name. I want a brand. A hoodie should feel like home, right? So he turns down his street. He looks up. He lives on lane 7. So that's how.
There you go.
Funny.
There you have it.
Yeah, that's a great story. I love
So,
that.
yeah, and so they looked at this market in particular here in the U.S. and globally. Looked at fleece. We're only 9 years old. 9 years ago, the fleece in this industry was absolute trash. But it was expensive. It didn't print well. It wasn't fun, right? The amount of just spray tack you had to use and all of that stuff, and moving around on the pallet. And you're charging your customer $30, $40 for this stuff sometimes. And they're like, well, how do we wiggle into that? Can we do this better? And that's exactly what they did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, and that drives us still.
Very cool. So how long has it been around for? How many years?
9.
9. Okay.
That's
So
new.
still fairly new.
Yeah. Super new.
No, we love it. Yeah, we love it. We love you. We're going to help push. And the year's not over yet. So it's
Hunting season.
Hunting season. Yeah. For us, we're drinking out of a fire hose right now. But
I can only imagine.
Yeah, only because it's hot. So we just need some water.
Yeah. I saw that little fan we put in. So
that little fan?
Should be okay.
That little fan does a lot.
The little 5-inch fan, that'll be great. It's going to work.
You got to have the fan in our warehouse. It's called the big ass fan.
We have all the big ass fans.
We have those in Daytona.
Yeah. We have the ones you put the water in. We have everything. We're trying it, but. Well, thank you so much. This has been great. Good to just see you again. When's the next show that we're going to be at? Do we have one come?
We'll be at Fort Worth, and then we'll be at Printing United.
I'll be there.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm speaking on a panel.
Where is that?
Somewhere. It's in Atlanta, right?
Atlanta.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Nice.
I just booked my tickets today, so we'll see you.
Cool. I'll see you there.
Cheers one for me, guys. But thanks a lot. We appreciate you coming on.
Yes, thanks.
Talk soon.
Milissa.
See ya.